I think a global pricing strategy probably means different things to different people, and perhaps that changes over the time of a product's development. But I think for sure it has a number of different layers to it. I think for me, at its highest level, a global pricing strategy sort of defines the value of a product. What is your product? What is it? Is it better than what's out there? Is it the same? What are you benchmarking against? Is there a benchmark? And if there isn't, what is your justification going to be for the price level that you're setting? So it's a sort of a conceptual framework, if you will, for kind of articulating the value of your product. And that can be sort of formed from the very earliest stages, and is actually a tool that you can use internally, cross-functionally, to guide the interactions and think about what the clinical data would need to look like to support that, what evidence gaps there might be as you see the product coming together. And I think the next layer down really is thinking about, okay, that's our goal, that's our target. A premium versus this comparator, or benchmarking against similar products of a similar size of population. How does that look in each individual market? Because as we've heard, there's very different systems, so cost effectiveness based markets, clinical benefit markets, budget impact markets, based on the key countries that you need to think about. What is the likelihood of being able to support and achieve that price in the different countries? What is the, translating that concept into an absolute dollar or euro value in each of those key markets? And as we've heard from Sam, there's a bit of a shift in the Earth's axis that, maybe there aren't going to be so many free price countries where you can just dictate that. Maybe ultimately, markets like the US could have some level of control there as well. So when you have a vision of what price might be achievable, absolute price, you can then start thinking about what does that look like globally? Like, there's a corridor of prices that you would like to achieve, the target, and at what level, because obviously there is the list level that is publicly available. And then, in many instances, you would obviously also thinking about the net level, dictating that corridor, and then thinking what that means for the launch sequence, your global launch sequence. Again, Sam was talking about that. That is something that we do already, but actually, is there going to be a big change in how you would think about that? So again, ongoing discussions cross-functionally about how feasible, applicable the strategy might be, and what one might need to do to prioritise or deprioritise countries is really important. So defining that launch sequence is another layer of that strategy. And even at the very nitty-gritty level, the strategy, even though it may be blurring into kind of more tactics, but I do think there's a strategic component here. Is sometimes it's very simple, price per year, and there's one formulation and that's your price. But sometimes there are also considerations about how you translate that target comparator price to a price per pack or a price per particular SKU. And are you flat pricing or linear pricing, and where can that be done how you want it to, and where are there rules that prevent you from doing what you want? So just really getting into the weeds of how you would actually set the price for a pack in a given market.